Oh, what's going on, everybody? Travis with RAC Garage, and yes, I am alive. I know I haven't posted in a few weeks, I think, maybe a week and a half. I was getting ready for the drags. I was dealing with stuff there. I haven't been touching the 32. I've done some stuff on the 36. As you see, the fenders are on, all patched up. That's nice. And look, oh, the doors are patched up, the doors are back on. Still needs a few tweaks here and there. I need to gap them. This is on, it needs new pins, and I need to adjust the latches, get the handles on there. At this stage on the 36, I need to get all the fenders on, make sure everything fits correctly, that kind of stuff. A little bit of patches on the driver's side inner fender well. It's the back end, the piece that I didn't cut out, needs a little bit of work. I totally forgot about that. I was going to mount the fenders on the passenger side, and I noticed, so I fixed it. So that side is done. I just haven't put all the bolts in. Seems like it lines up pretty good though. What else? I don't even think I documented the supercharger thing. Man, sorry guys. So bad. I am so bad at this YouTube thing. But I'm just having fun, just living my life, documenting stuff I want to document. You know, if you don't like it, you can probably catch it on Kelly's channel. So, we decided to try and put the McCullough on my Roadster pickup for the drags, because the 32 obviously wasn't going to make it. That was another, whoops, broken light bulb. That was a goal I had. I wanted to try to make the drags in the 32. That didn't end up happening. I just didn't have money for all the little things that it needed to get it driving, and there was a ton of metal work still left to be done. Didn't want to rush it that much, so I decided, hey, what the heck, I won't do this. So I wanted to put the supercharger on the Roadster pickup. We put it on. There was a couple issues. The main shaft had a lot of lash in it, whatever you want to call it, play. And I had oiling issues. For one, there was a seal missing. We had no idea there was a seal that went there, so we fixed that seal. Still pumping oil straight into the intake. We couldn't figure it out, so we just ripped it out. It was like 2 days before the drags. Ripped it out, put the intake back on, the fixed and dual intake, and we're running it like that for now. So I actually dove into this and figured out how to kind of set the adjustment on the shaft, the play in the shaft. I probably need a few more washers, but we're getting somewhere. And I figured out that I was oiling like straight into the intake. So I don't know if you can see, there's a few ports here, and I also changed out my tensioner unit from Firth Speed Parts. So Rob Firth actually makes these from original castings. It's even got the original casting number and almost has that L crown in it that most of the parts have. But you know how I like all original stuff. I found one that was cast steel, the original one, so I got that and put it on the car, or on the setup. But it is a little different. It shoots the generator to the other side, which I kind of like, because it keeps everything in a nice tight package, and the tensioner is still on this side. So I just swapped everything over pretty much. So the only piece, well, besides pulleys, because pulleys are literally unobtainium, the only thing that's not original on the on this setup is the tensioner arm and the tensioner itself. So everything else is original. So at first I was missing this piece, and I had Rob actually make me one of those. So now this piece is original. This piece I actually got when I got the supercharger. That's original. Everything else is original except for those arms. And I do have a set of double pulley pumps and a double pulley crank, double double belt crank pulley. I don't know what to call them. But right now it's on the Roadster pickup because we just kind of take the intake off and swapped it. So I don't know, a lot of things happened, and I'm sure you probably wanted to see it. And if you didn't see it, you can check out Kelly's channel, Kelly Builds. She documented some of that and put that on. But I'm going to put this back on something. I don't really know if it's going to be the Roadster pickup, because I go back and forth, because A, I want to put it on because it's really cool, and B, I don't want to put it on because the Roadster pickup runs so well. So let's go check that out for a minute. We'll kind of stare at it. It's a cool little truck, so what the heck. So yeah, so I didn't swap over my heads. Kelly has the heads on that car, and plans have changed again. That is not the flip car anymore. Kelly's going to be selling the BMW, which, you know, everyone's probably excited for it, because this house is not a BMW house. It's a Ford house. There's always early Fords in the driveway, and this kind of ruins the aesthetic of everything. And I do like them, but if we're going to get one, it's going to be running and driving. It's not going to be a project. So, yeah, buy with you. If you know anyone who wants one, or if you want this one, it's got a bunch of parts for it. Extra engine, extra hood, extra deck lid. You know, rear floors have been tacked in. The fronts have yet to be tacked in. But, you know, it's a good car. There's a bunch of extra stuff to it. So if you want it, it's going to be cheap. So this is now hers. She's now going to build this. We're going to chop it 4 3/4 inches. It has the old flathead from this, so we got Old Smoky in here. But we might go through that, you know, bore it 125 over, something like that, make it a hot rod engine. Not sure. But, you know, like the old ones, got all the bells and whistles. You guys know what we've done to this so far. I just got a 39 trans for it, which is cool. Slapped that in there, and we actually had to move the mounts. Me and Jacob put the mounts in way too far back, like way too far back. I don't know why we did it. I did it the way I always do. I kind of line everything up. I bolt the motor to the trans and bolt the clamshell to the rear end, and wherever it sits, I put the mounts. It must have been, you know, this must have been tweaked or something, because the rear end, after I looked at it, was like way far away from this center line here. It didn't match up well, and I had to cut a bunch out of the firewall, which I regret doing, because now I don't have to cut as much. Whatever, but that's hers. Back on the Roadster pickup. Like I was saying, I don't really want to mess with this. I do want the supercharger on it, but this thing runs so well, and it's reliable. I have proof that it's reliable, because I took this thing, I drove it from Northeast Connecticut to pretty much the middle of Maine, which was 200 miles, which isn't much for some of you guys out in the Midwest and stuff that drive that all the time. But pretty much 5 hours each way, 400-mile round trip, plus driving there a lot. It did excellent. It had 60 psi of oil pressure the whole time. It ran 180 degrees all the time, except when I got in the back roads and had like shade and not direct sunlight from the highway. It was at like 140, 160. Was it 180 or 160? Let me look at the gauge. 180. Yeah, so 180. So the back roads was like 140, 160, and I had 12. I was getting like 14, 16 volts charging the whole time. So, you know, it was great, except for the brakes. I've always had trouble with the brakes. I really don't know why. Me and Joe just bled the system before I went up, and it was kind of good. And then we were going to get helmets, because we didn't bring helmets to the drags, and the pedal started getting higher and higher and stiffer. So then when we got to the Harley station, the Harley store for the helmets, I took the brake rod out, because me and Joe welded an extension on it. Tried to snap the extension off, but ended up snapping the whole shaft off of the threads. You can see that in Kelly's channel. It's pretty funny. But since it was up in the drags, there's a lot of vendors, a lot of friends up there. We had the supplies to help and put the truck back on the road. And it's kind of how it is when I fix it. I haven't changed anything because it's, you know, it's working. So yeah, we fixed it on the side of the road, drove it back, and that was kind of the only issue we had. On the way back, brakes weren't working that great, and I had to use the e-brake a bunch. But just now, I actually still have the jack out and my creeper. I was just adjusting the brakes. So I've been running this car for like 2 years without adjusting the brakes. So it was time. So I adjusted all the brakes. Now there's slight drag on the wheels when you spin them when they're up in the air. So that means the shoes are almost right up against the drum. So when you push on the pedal, there's not far for that cylinder to go. And it's where it needs to be. So that's done, and I changed. So when we did the McCullough setup, I had to take my old hoses out, and I only had one hose. That was from my old setup, because it worked. No, it didn't work for the McCullough. I only needed to modify one of them, so I had to cut one of them to work. So now I only had one, and it didn't look right. And I found these upstairs, Ford script coolant hoses, which is pretty cool. I had to move the radiator and grill shell a little bit closer, so as you can see, everything is really tight in there. But since it's an electric fan, it really doesn't matter. And by the way, I didn't really have to use that electric fan at all. I turned it on out of safety when I was in some traffic heading up to Maine, but I probably didn't need to. So that's on there just because I cannot fit a regular fan in there. So I think I'm going to try and put on my original, radiator stays. I did break this radiator on the way back. The welds broke off of the bottom tank. Luckily, it did not make a hole in the tank. So it's kind of just chilling there for now. I'll probably get another one. I don't feel like fixing this one. I'd like to get a brass one, but man, are they expensive. But yeah, and also, I really think that I want to try out this car fenderless for a little bit. Not totally fenderless. I'm going to keep the skirts on there just because that's a pain. You got to lift the body off to take the skirts off. Well, not take it off, but you kind of, you got to loosen some stuff. So I'm going to leave those there, but I'm going to take everything else off. I might have to fab up some kind of taillight mount. I totally forgot about that. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do that right now. I was thinking I was going to do it, and I got a headlight bar, an extra headlight bar that I was going to cut and, make little mini headlight stands down on the front frame horns. But now, thinking now I got to make a taillight stand. I don't know what I'm going to make it out of. I'm probably just going to leave it alone for now. They do obviously make taillight stands that go on the bed. So I might just buy one. I don't feel like making one. So maybe I'll do that after I get all the parts so I can just tackle it. But for now, I definitely want to put those radiator stays on to make the radiator not move as much. And I need to fill it with coolant because I emptied the coolant out, or the water out, to replace those hoses. But yeah, everything else has been good around here. Nothing crazy, except for Kelly changing her project from the BMW to the Model A, which is cool. She's gonna have a coupe to ride around in. And the 3 windows kind of haven't been worked on since you saw it. I might have a little bit of footage that I haven't posted up, but as far as I know, I don't think it's changed much, because I did show this back end being fabbed up. That's kind of how it is. So this right side, this driver's side, is pretty good. From pretty much the belt line down, it's all right. The back's good. Well, it still needs some work, and this side hasn't really been touched. So I'm debating on making a whole quarter panel. I don't know what I'm going to do yet there. But yeah. Oh, I did order the other Brookville A-pillar. So this whole A-pillar I have ordered from Brookville so I can replace it kind of like I did that side. Replace the bottom chunk, and then the top chunk here I'm probably going to replace from here up, just to, you know, I don't want to mess with any of that crap. I was talked out of replacing the whole thing. You know, to have original Ford Striker locations is, you know, probably the best if I'm running with mostly Ford equipment here. Like, I don't have Brookville doors or anything like that, so I do have Brookville pieces of doors, but, you know. So, yeah. That's what's going on in my world. I'm gonna mess with the Roadster pickup a little bit, get it back on the road because it doesn't have any coolant or water in it. And then, yeah, probably start working on the 3-window at nights. Get that going again so I can keep pumping out content. Not that I don't like recording customer cars, but I think I've said it before that I want to just record my own stuff. And you guys, I didn't get backlash from it, but you guys were like, well, I really like to see the other stuff that's going on. I don't like recording the customer stuff anymore. It takes too much time away from the actual build that I like to say flow state. People kind of make fun of it, but you know, it's real. And if I'm in the flow state working, I don't like to think about, oh, I have to set the camera up, I have to set the camera up here. If I'm on my personal stuff, whatever, it's fine. There's no real deadlines for any of my personal stuff, so I don't mind breaking out the camera and showing you guys what's going on. But with customer stuff, I really have to start taking my business seriously, and recording every step just hinders that. So that's another reason why I haven't been recording. But, you know, and Kelly's got her channel, and she does incorporate a lot of stuff that I do because we do the same thing. Besides, like, the metalwork aspect. But I do the metalwork on the project cars of our own, so you'll still see that. But yeah, not that I'm going in a different direction, but you'll probably see a little bit less content from me. I'm still going to try to do at least one a week from here on out. I know I took a couple week break, but I'm always going to be working on early Fords, early hot rods, cool shit, so don't worry about that. You'll still see some stuff. I might do like updates on customer projects just to kind of show you what's going on. But I don't think I'm going to do any more in-depth customer projects anymore. Unless it's like something wild and I think everyone would fucking go crazy for. Then I'll do that, but just regular patch panels and stuff, I'm not going to... Not waste my time, but like... Waste my time. Like, I don't know. It's the only thing I can think of right now. Like, take time away from the project and slow me down by recording. Like I said, personal stuff, 3-window, Roadster pickup, Model A coupe, when, you know, Kelly's going to do that, but... And I do have a 36 sedan delivery. And I have plans of getting a bunch of other stuff, so you will see some stuff. Don't freak out. But yeah, this kind of update video. Glad you hung on if you did hang on. Well, actually, not done. I'm going to show you some stuff. I know you saw them, but I didn't really say anything. Cool set of original Edelbrock block letter heads. Really cool. You can tell they're originals because they're not as fat as the new reproductions are. I actually have one on the supercharger motor, which isn't really the supercharger motor, it's just the one that the supercharger is on. I think it looks pretty cool. I like old block letter stuff. So, yeah, the only new set of heads I got is those Sharps that are on the wall, because that is almost the only set of heads you can find, you can get for a 37 21 stud with the center water outlets. Old speed equipment for that's almost impossible to find, and also so is speed equipment, original speed equipment for the 21 studs in general, really. They're like hen's teeth. So That's the only new set, because I do have a 37 motor that's in the middle of being machined, and I kind of paused it. I gotta get that back set up so nothing goes to you know what, and I can just save it. So I'll finish having it built, wrap it, oil it, wrap it up, save it. Who knows? That might even go in the Model A coupe. That could be a little hot motor for the coupe. Who knows? It's actually not a bad idea. I'll bring that up to Kelly, see what she thinks. He should probably be okay with it. A rebuilt motor, who the heck's going to turn that down? But yeah. Is there anything else I can show you? I guess I picked up an 8BA Edmunds intake, so that's the third Edmunds intake in the shop. This guy. Online, I thought it was advertised, well, I thought it was a 59 style like this. No breathers in the front. Unfortunately, it's not. It is an 8BA. I'm not a crazy fan of the 8BAs. I know they run, I wouldn't say they run better, but they're the later style. You know, everything gets improved with age as the years go on. So 8BAs are technically the better of the flatheads. But I can't get over the big breather in the front. I don't like the distributor on the front, like, I mean, cocked to the side like that. They're not my cup of tea. I'd rather have earlier flathead style, you know, distributor in the direct front of the motor and the breather out back. Even though the 8BAs still have the fuel pump here, I don't know why they needed to add this. They kind of just ruined the aesthetic. My guess, and it's probably true, is the cars were getting bigger and it was harder to access this to fill it with oil. So they added this long tube for convenience, which I get it, but I just don't like it. Oh, and we got a Bailey finger brake. You know, I had to add that in. So that's going to be crazy. We're originally going to get a straight brake, and then, you know, there's not much difference in price actually between the straight and that, and they had that in stock, so they sent that one over, which is cool. The other one was still like 8 weeks out, so we got this one in a couple days, and it's way cooler because it's a finger brake, and, you know, box and pan brake, whatever you want to call it. All right, for real now, I'm gonna end it. Thank you for tuning into this little update video. I know it wasn't nothing crazy, but just what's going on in the shop, telling you what's going on, telling you why I wasn't here. And I do have, I need to again apologize for the shirt debacle. I'm sorry that took so long. I had to switch shirt providers a couple times, and I ended up just going with the one Kelly used, and the guy was local. Worked out good. The shirts are amazing quality. The shirts themselves, the design, if you like it or not, whatever, but the shirt itself, I put it on and I'm like, this is the best shirt I've ever felt. They are comfort colors. Great shirt. I still do have a few on the store, so if you want to go there and grab one, get it while it lasts, because I'm probably not going to have that design again. I'll come out with something different. So, thanks again. I'll catch you guys next time.